It's the new hit list on 102.7 Kiss FM. My name is Kayla, and I am with Devon Werkheiser.
Hey, what's up, Kayla?
Welcome to Kiss FM.
Thank you.
Huge fan.
That's what's up.
Are you kidding me? Ned's Declassified School Survivor Guide was my show back in the day. So it's so weird seeing you here, obviously grown up.
Yes.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 12 to 15 on that show.
Crazy. You're
Crazy.
31 now.
33.
30. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You look completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So much has changed since then. I mean, being a childhood star to now transitioning into adulthood. What has changed for you internally?
Oh, man, everything. I don't know. Ned's is a strange, beautiful journey in my life because it was so long. It's 20 years ago now. It's crazy. We're coming up literally next month is like the 20-year anniversary of the premiere. So we're coming up on that. But we've been doing the podcast now for 2 years, got reconnected with Daniel and Lindsay, and Ned's is this weird part of my life that has led to so many blessings and so much good life. And anyone who watches it, you included, they meet it with so much love. So it's only brought so much love to my life, but also it's still the biggest thing I've done. And it's 20 years ago, right? And it's still a part of my adult life now, especially with the podcast and Daniel and Lindsay and everything. We're creating it's still such a big part of my life, but still a part of my life that I have more to offer, and there's more that I want. Strange process, man.
And you do so many other things. You have been in some other projects. You have your music career going. But has it been hard to brand yourself as something other than Ned?
Yes and no. It's I have lived a lot of life, and I'm very kind of clear on who I am separate from Ned. I know who I am, but yes, it still is this part of my identity, at least in how the public knows me, that I haven't yet transcended Ned.
Yeah.
I'm more than Ned, but I haven't fully transcended it. And that honestly was part of my new music project. I didn't even want to be under my name anymore as I was conceptualizing this new project, which was kind of a whole journey for a couple years. I realized I wanted a moniker. I wanted a name, a project name. I recently heard Chapel Roan talking about it for her, what's her name? Her name's Kaylee or something.
And she got Chapel Roan from her grandfather's favorite song or something like that.
Yes, and I heard her talking about wanting she made it a name so that it's a project. It's something kind of outside of me. It's something I can put my energy into, but that's not my whole identity, right? It's its own identity that I can craft and love and create. But a part of me doing that with Good Valley and this new music project, I think is the weird place I'm at with Ned.
Yeah. We're going to get into your music, but when it comes to being a Nickelodeon star and then transforming and then going through your life, you even talked about how you had to get a 9-to-5 job because after Nickelodeon, it was kind of just oh my gosh. So I bet that was extremely tough for you to go from being that guy on everybody's TV screens and then having to work somewhere everybody else.
Yeah, what a good painful lesson for my ego. It was so great. And it wasn't immediate. After Ned's, I always worked, and my savings would go up and then they would go down. I'm, the life of an actor. I was always working towards that next big thing after Ned's. And like I said, I always worked. I've worked on a ton of indie things, TV shows, all these things, but never got that next massive thing. And then, just in my 20s, I mismanaged my money, and all of a sudden I was out
we
of
all did.
Yeah, it was part of it. And then all of a sudden,
and then we're all broke, and then we're going back to our parents' house. Yep.
Yeah, I was out all of a sudden, and for the first time in my life, I had to go get some day jobs, and it was good. It was good for me. I no longer do them, and I'll never go back. It's art or die. Since COVID, I was just when the jobs ended, they all ended because of the pandemic, and of course they came back a couple months later. But I was I'm never going back. I will figure it. I will hustle my art.
Yeah.
Or I'm not doing that again because this is my life. I will create. But yeah, it was good on the ego.
Yeah,
it was good
grounded
to work
you.
day jobs.
It made you humble, and now you bounce back.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have never been shy about telling about all your business. There's so many layers to you.
So you watched the podcast, huh?
Yeah, so you had a podcast that actually just ended. You stopped at one. It was Growing Up with Devon, where we got to see every side of you, every emotion. What was like a pinnacle moment of your life where things kind of turned around for you? Like after you stopped working that 9-to-5 job and you were like, okay, my life is finally on the track that I wanted to go again.
It's still turning around, Kayla.
Okay.
Like, yeah, for real. I'm still in that process. And there's a lot. I have a lot of ambition and a lot of standards when it comes to what I do, both musically, anything I do, acting, music, podcasting, all the things that I do. I have high standards. I have high ambition. There's a lot I want to achieve. But what I'm currently focusing on at this point in my life is, while I pursue those things, and it's a blessing to be able to pursue these things and pursue a life in this, while I'm pursuing them, I'm also trying to get better at being okay with who I am. Because like growing up a kid actor, those things, the success of what I do and the worth of who I am, they sometimes get way too collapsed and way too overlapped. And even now in my adult life, that happens where like the success of what I do, I oftentimes confuse with the worth of who I am.
Wow.
And so currently at this season in my life, there's a lot I'm pursuing. Like there's so much music and acting and just stuff that I'm up to. But I just want to give myself space to also like be who I am and let that be enough and let that be okay.
Yeah. And it's so incredible that you are recognizing this. And even if in your 30s, like recognizing
For
it,
real.
you know, and I think it's absolutely amazing.
Shout out to my therapist, you know?
Okay, so you are in therapy. What other self-work, what other self-care do you use to like, I don't know, be okay with yourself? Because we all have those identity crises.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, therapy's great. Meditation for sure. Some form of weekly, daily exercise, like just getting outside. And then it's really just, it's like relationship to self. I mean, however you can make that better, however you can be kinder and like discover where maybe you're not being kind to yourself. Like, it's all there.
I understand that.
Yeah.
100%. But even though, you know, you're on this self-love journey, you still have to have those people that have your back and support you.
That's true.
I know for me, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people who told me that I can keep going. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So
yeah, it's not in a vacuum.
Right.
No.
Right. Who were those people for you?
There's a lot. I mean, I have a lot of really amazing friends. I have a lot of very amazing friends who I love dearly, and we're all kind of in this life together and just like get each other. And so a lot of them, my mom, my sister, my family really does it still, which is amazing. Like, even though they sacrificed a lot for me to pursue my dreams, and like sometimes I feel the weight of like, if my dreams aren't the biggest they can possibly be, like, was all that, you know, did they make the wrong sacrifice? Like, they don't put that on me. It's not like that. Like, they just want me to be happy.
That's family,
you know?
for you.
Yeah, they're good.
I love that.
They're
Are you
really
dating
good.
anybody? I saw some rumors. I'm just going to put it out there. I heard that you're dating Tila Dunn. You want to confirm or deny? What's the tea with that?
What have you been doing on the internet, all right? You getting into my tea?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. Are you dating anybody? Can you just confirm for the people who want to know?
I am not dating anybody.
Okay.
I'm single.
And ready to mingle. So if you want to slide in his DMs.
I'm single. I'm pretty focused on like what I'm doing right now. Honestly, I'm about to fly to Spain for a couple weeks, so hola.
If you're in Spain, hit him up.
If you're in Spain, slide into the DMs. And no, Tila, Tila's a friend. I love Tila. Tila's great. Tila's an amazing person. I have no girlfriend right now. All right.
What do you look for when it comes to somebody who can be in your life? Because of the space that you're in, you're doing a lot of self-work.
Yeah.
You're on a self-love journey.
Yeah.
You're figuring things out still. What kind of person can match that?
I don't know, Kayla. All right.
Match that?
I don't know, Kayla.
Yes, am I asking too deep questions? I'm sorry.
I love it. I just wasn't prepared for this.
I asked you, but no, I asked him in the beginning. I said, "Is there anything that's off limits?" Because I get the tea.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize.
You said nothing is off limits.
I didn't realize we're doing this.
We're going everywhere today.
No, respect. What do I look for, man? I don't know. I think we create like checklists in our head about, the perfect partner, and like that rarely is that checklist what needs to manifest. Yeah. Like I'm just looking. There's a quote I like about love. Okay, I'll be pretentious and tell you this. There's a quote that says like all love is good that pulls at all of your being, and all love is bad or whatever. All love is dysfunctional that pulls at just a part of you and distorts you. So I feel like that happens, right? Like I might like parts of someone, like there's enough there that it works somewhat, but it's not pulling at like all of my being to be better or to show up. And so I don't know what that intangible is. I don't know who needs to come into my life for me to kind of feel that again. It's been a while since I've like dove in.
Yeah.
I love deeply, and so I'm very careful about opening up to that because of the way that I love and recover from codependence.
Hurt.
Yeah, and it's just got to be at this point in my life. 30s is different.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying too. I'm 30 as well, and I'm like, I don't got time for the games.
It starts to hit different, doesn't it? 30s. There is more importance on like I don't want to just be like casual with it anymore, and I had my time for that.
Yeah,
but I also don't know who that I want to be serious with. So
do you?
I'm just single.
I know. Do you feel like sometimes you're playing catch up with people who are maybe already married, so solidified in their career? Because I know that I have that sometimes too. I look and I'm like, man, like my friends, they got married at 25, have the white picket fence, they got the kids, and I'm still, I have my dream job, of course, but we all want that. You know what I mean? Do you sometimes feel, man, I'm running out of time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like that shows up for sure. 30, I'm liking my 30s. I like the process that I'm in of reconciling like my childhood and adolescent wants and where I'm at now and what I want to aim for. But all that shows up for sure. Definitely that feeling, especially because we're out here in LA. We're living a non-conventional life. We're pursuing things that are non-conventional. And I'm seeing in my 20s, I'm like, oh, I don't need those conventions. I'm seeing the merits of them now. Like the people who did get married, like my sister's got a kid now. Like her priorities now in your 30s, I'm like, that's kind of nice. Like, what your priorities are. Right. It's like your husband, your house, your kid, making a living. And like, that's enough. Like, that's enough to focus on. I've been pursuing this other thing my entire life, which means I'm not married, don't have kids, like, don't have stability.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like behind on that, but not really, because I don't know what I'm pursuing. The life that I'm pursuing, it's not just the career, but like the life that I'm pursuing still feels like kind of a blessing to be able to pursue. And I'm still in it for a while.
And it's worth waiting for.
Yeah, I think so.
Until you're 100% sure and 100% happy.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have this podcast with your former co-stars, which is so nostalgic for us fans.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's just as healing for you guys. Yeah.
It really is. It's been such a cool journey with that, if the three of us were in different points in our lives and careers, like we wouldn't have come back for the podcast, right? Like we're doing the podcast because at the time 2 years ago, like it was like, yeah, that's something we can put our time and energy into, and like I don't have much else going on, like so let's do it. But because all of us were there and able to do this podcast, like it's so healing to be back in each other's lives.
I'm sure.
Like I love those guys.
And
I love them so much.
It's so cool because you get to have other child stars come on.
It's a blast.
And, reconnect and share stories and stuff like that. You've had a lot of stars on.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that you haven't had that you would like to talk to?
So many. One of my favorite parts about doing this podcast has been reconnecting or meeting for the first time other former child actors, because it has been weird growing. I had a very good version of the child entertainment industry. I had a really good version of it. Good parents, like all this stuff. But it's still a weird way to grow up. And it's weird becoming an adult when that's your childhood. And so getting to connect to all these other former child actors and hear what their process has been becoming an adult, it's been so like comforting and nice. Like, yeah, you guys get parts of my life that a lot
that
of people
nobody else
really cannot understand.
Yeah.
So that's been amazing. Who would I like on? So many people still. There's a ton of Nickelodeon people that I haven't seen in so long. Miranda Cosgrove, hadn't seen in so long. Jeanette McCurdy, Josh Peck, I haven't seen him for like a decade. Like, there's people who I used to know who it would be fun to sit down and like connect with.
We would absolutely love to see that on your podcast.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Likelihood of a reboot, maybe?
Great question, Kayla.
You don't know?
Great question.
I can tell you want that. Do you want it?
Do I want it? Yes. Do I know that it needs to happen? No. It's just so much of my life, the last like 5 years, to me, it's beyond what I want. It just seems right and obvious. Like, because I interact with the fans all the time. We're all grown now.
Right.
All the generation that love Neds is in adulthood now. The format of having a relatable adult character talking to adults about modern adulthood through the camera, like, that show writes itself.
It does.
So
what's the holdup?
Paramount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, studios.
Yeah.
I mean, Paramount's been going through a big sale, but like, yeah, just the studio not wanting to do it.
Wow. This is what the people want.
That's what I'm saying.
How can you not?
That's what I'm saying. And like, if the universe doesn't want it for me, okay. Okay. But like,
please.
It feels so obvious and like a win-win-win. It's a win for us personally. It's a win for the audience. It would be a win for the studio because it's positive. Ned's was always so positive. The heart of the show was truly wanting to connect to an audience and help them. So I feel like it writes itself for adulthood.
It does. We'll see. Maybe one day.
We'll see.
Okay, so you have been in another project since everything happened. You were part of the Rust film before it got shut down and suspended. But it was my understanding that you guys went back.
We finished it.
And you finished it. What was it like going back after everything that happened?
Was the most... Oh, that was the most surreal... Yeah, that was the most surreal... experience. Still is. I mean, the fact that I'm a part of this experience is, it's still I ask myself off. I'm still confused by it. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I'll talk about it probably more if something happens with the movie because I'll be asked more. But going back after everything that happened was good and painful. There was only a handful of us who were on the original shoot who came back to finish. And getting there was really painful. The first few days were the most surreal thing I've ever experienced. Like, literally putting on the costume that I was wearing the day everything happened. Like, all of that was really weird. But at the end of it, I do feel like it's good that we finished it, and it's right that we finished it. And people are very cynical about this whole thing, and people want someone to blame, and they want right and wrong, and they're really cynical about the motives for why we finished it. We finished the movie for Helena, and we finished the movie. Her husband, her widower, wanted it finished. Her mom wanted it finished. Like, we finished it for her and like the humanity of this experience and this project. Like, it wasn't finished in a cynical, like, let's all go make money. Like, no, dude. It cost, a lot emotionally to finish it. Like, it was hard to finish it. And I'm glad we did. I don't know what will happen with it. I'm pretty like let go of the outcome of this project because now it's just a part of my life. It's a part of this journey.
Yeah. So you don't know if it's coming out, when it's nothing about it.
I know nothing about the next steps. I know there's a really great person making a documentary about Helena, and she was with us finishing, and she was a really close friend of Helena's.
Yeah. And
so I know there's like kind of this documentary that's being made simultaneous to Rust being finished, and I don't know. I think it will end up somewhere at some point. I think.
Well, I have to say, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, and everybody who was a part of that set. I mean, I feel like you guys, your lives have been transformed forever and changed, and only you guys know exactly what happened, how it felt, but during, after, and now. You know what I mean? And so many people have their speculations, and it's sad to see all the comments and stuff like that, but you guys had to live through it. And as someone who was a major part of that cast, how did you get over, or not, you don't get over something like that, but how do you get through something like that and then continue to work in this industry after something like that?
Yeah, it never messed with my understanding and experience and kind of love of the industry. It was a horrible human tragedy. Like, a lot had to happen and go wrong in the right sequence for this to occur how it did. Like, I don't know. There's no real justice in it. It's just tragic. Like, it's just tragic. But also, I don't make it more than that. Like, for me, I was on that set. I was handling guns every day. It's a Western. I play a cowboy. Like, every character has a gun. It's a Western. There's gunfights. I handled a gun every day on that set. I know some people from our crew were very, moving forward, were very concerned about being on sets with guns again. I personally wasn't. It didn't hit like that. Like, there are very clear safety measures on sets already. They fell through on our set that day, but like, I don't know. To me, it's not a systemic issue. Like, I would still be fine using blanks on set and handling guns. Like, obviously, I'd check it aggressively, but yeah, I don't know. You just keep going, and I still love this industry, and Helena loved. Man, yeah, she was my favorite kind of person in this industry.
Really? So you worked closely with her?
For the short time that I knew her, yeah.
Can you tell us about her from your point of view?
Yeah, I just honor her in that way. So listen, Helena, who was killed in this, she was our cinematographer, and in my 20 years in the industry, 20 plus years in the industry, I don't think I've worked with more than 2 female DPs, female cinematographers. Like, she was forging into a position that, like, there are not a lot of females in that position. And she was so talented, and just beyond her technical talent, she is my favorite type of person that I get to meet in this industry, because she's like me, where a lot of people get jaded in this industry, but it's a blessing, man. It's such a freaky gift to get to work on movies. Like, movie sets are so crazy, circusy. It's absurd that this is our lives. Like, we're not in a 9-to-5. We're not in a cubicle in fluorescent lights. We're creating and collaborating with others. Like, it's important to still hold that as many years as you work. And a lot of people get real jaded and they complain on sets all the time. And she was not. I knew it the moment I met her. Like, oh, you're like me. Like, you're stoked to be here. Like, we're making a Western in New Mexico. Let's go, dude. She had that joy for this life and the work. And like, we connected on that. And like, it's hard, man. It's hard.
I'm really sorry again that you had to go through something like that. And but her legacy lives on through stories just like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we'll do, if whatever happens with this film, like, that's what we'll do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your music,
Let's
finally.
do it.
So you have a new song out. Well, it's called Touching.
Yes.
And you said that you put it under a different name. Can you tell us more about that, the name, everything?
Yeah, so I've been making music since Neds. I started learning on Neds. When Neds ended, I got signed to Universal and had this kind of couple-year run at a record label and was writing all these songs around LA. And since then, I've gone through these different stages of pursuing music. And this was under my name, Devon Werkheiser. It's like singer-songwriter music. And I've gone through these different phases where, like, I'm pursuing the industry of music, and I'd always reach this point where, I don't know, my connection, my actual joy of the music would die in my pursuit of the industry, of the outcome, of the external expectation, or whatever I wanted. and then I'd stop for a while, restart, blah, blah, blah. Did that for like 15 years, my singer-songwriter stuff, and I stand by it. You can still go look up Devon Werkheiser music on Spotify, and that's like, the songs that I wrote on my guitar, wrote from my heart. I was making a ton of music during the pandemic, all this stuff, and then started this weird process in 2021 where I just got fully disconnected from music entirely. I didn't want to touch my guitar. I didn't want to touch any of my songs, and started this process, this couple-year process that led to Good VLLY, which is my new project. But of just asking myself, like, why am I disconnected to music right now? Like, what do I want to make? Like, and I started asking these deeper questions, and I realized I'm just bored of the guitar. For 15 years, I've written every song I've ever written on guitar. And so I was like, well, what do I want to write on? And the issue was the music that I was making was not close to the music that I actually listen to. Not close to what I'm going to put on a playlist. Like, I'm listening to James Blake, Bon Iver, Tom Misch. Like, there's a world of music that I listen to that I was not even close to trying to make music like it. And so Good VLLY was my way of correcting that.
Okay.
Writing, I produce all of it. I'm writing on synths and beats and using a lot more electronic sounds and process vocals. And it just became kind of like this dream pop electronic thing that I love. And yeah, I wanted it to be under a different name. And it's Good VLLY, and it's spelled weird because I wanted it to be like, you have to know it to know it. Like, right. People ask me, like, how do you pronounce it? Because it's Good VLLY. I just took the vowels out of Valley. And so people don't know how to say it. And I like that even. It's like, yeah, you got to know what it is to know what it is. Okay. So you have the song Touching. Yes. Why does everybody need to have this song on their playlist? Oh, this is a summer bop. Like, this is a house track. Mm-hmm. I love electronic music, and I've gotten to weave it into this project and actually make electronic music for the first time in my life. And I've been going to Coachella and Burning Man since I was like 20. Like, I mess with electronic music. So I'm actually starting to make it. So yeah, there's a summer bop. You'll hear it when you hear it, but it's just a good vibe. Touching is just a good vibe, and the whole EP that it's a part of is crap. You were asking me about love. Like, the whole EP it's called Brief Romance, and it's about kind of the different ways we return to love after being hurt by it. Touching is kind of a celebration of that push-pull when you're returning to love. Well, speaking of Coachella, you actually performed at Coachella. Yeah. Tell me about that, because that is such an amazing opportunity. Dude, it was so cool, Kayla. It was so cool. I've been going to Coachella since I said 20. I went to my first Coachella when I was 15. Damn. Yeah. I'm like OG Coachella. I went to Coachella for like 7 years. I have 4 photos. That's how long ago I used to go. Like, it was before we were taking a million photos of everything, right? Like, so I love Coachella. Haven't been back since 2013. And so this past April, I'm releasing remixes of this song, Touching. And one of my friends, VLLY, dope DJ out of Philly, we were dropping a remix of Touching, and she hit me up 2 days before weekend 2 of Coachella and said, no pressure. And said, hey, I know it's super last minute, but like, I have some opening sets at Coachella. Like, I'm going to play Doolab. If I get you a pass, like, do you want to come sing Touching during my set? And I was like, absolutely. How can you turn that down? Absolutely. And listeners out there, I'm sorry to tell you, there is 2 Coachellas, okay? There's Coachellas for people, and there's Coachellas for artists. What do you mean by that? And I'm never going back. What do you mean? So it's a whole different experience for you guys versus us. Sorry, dog. So what do you mean by that? I mean, that artist wristband get you all the perks. Yeah, Coachella with the artist wristband. I'm never going back. I'm never going back. He got a little taste of the high life, and now he don't want to come back down to us little people. And I knew friends who said this over the last few years, and I'm such a like, I'll do it myself and like man of the people type person that I'm like, no, I've done general admission Coachella. Like I've never even done VIP Coachella. Like, nah, general admission. Like you just go and you be a part of it. And they were telling me like, And now I know what they're talking about. That artist wristband, man.
Listen, at the minute, I probably wouldn't go back either.
Yo,
are you kidding me?
Yo,
Once you get a little taste,
you gotta get the taste. There's golf carts to take you from stages like behind all the people. There's always kind of little cuts you can get into to get out of the crowds. Now at Coachella, there's a front section of every stage that just the artist wristband gets you into, and you can sit and like show up to the set late and still have a great spot to see it. It's ridiculous.
I've never even been to Coachella as like general admission.
What?
I know, right?
You work at a radio station.
I've only been in the East Coast for 2 years. I lived
on the West Coast for 2 years.
I'm an East Coaster.
Okay.
Been here for 2 years, but every year when they like send like the DJs, I gotta stay behind because I'm the new girl.
Okay.
But maybe next year.
Yo, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And you gotta get the Kiss artist wristband. Because I'm sure the DJs are.
You know, you got a little something.
I'm sure you guys are in the artist section.
Speaking of remixes, I was wondering where the hell is Coconut Head from Ned's Declassified, and then I saw that he remixed Touching.
Yeah.
So you guys are still really close.
We're still close. We were super close on Neds. We're still close. We're still in each other's lives. And it's so cool. Yeah, like he has been on kind of he like loves electronic music and has been DJing for a while, and I knew that. So when I was putting together kind of these remixes, I just thought, oh, dude, it'd be so great.
That is so awesome.
And what he came up with, like, it's an amazing remix.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
What makes your sound unique to anything that's already out there?
Yeah. I am so proud of the sound that I'm crafting with Good VLLY. I do think it's a unique sound. It's hard when people ask me like, oh, what kind of music do you make? Because I'm blending all things that I love. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There's a little bit of like hip hop groove. There's like dreamy synth electronic. But I'm also a songwriter at heart. So like, I mean, it is songs and it is pop accessible. Like I love James Blake. That's maybe one of my top artists that I love. His stuff isn't always accessible to the layman. Like he does some pretty alternative stuff with what he's doing. Like mine's still accessible. I still come from like a pop writing song background. So yeah, it's that. And I don't know if you like. We just call it the genre vibes. If you like vibes,
you like good vibes. Listen to Good VLLY.
You like good vibes? Listen to Good VLLY. That's facts. Yeah.
What is next for you? What is next for Good VLLY? What is next for everything in your life?
Yeah, Good VLLY. There's a long way to go. I'm at the very beginning of this project. You know, one EP, a couple remixes. Like I'm in the early stages, and the response already has given me like, all right, let's do this thing. The fact that it brought me to Coachella, that wasn't even on my radar. Like that I would be able to do that so soon. So that was like a good affirmation from the universe to keep making Good VLLY. What's next? I got a lot of new music and a lot of new creations. I just recorded this whole live record with Good VLLY. It's a whole thing. I got to get Good VLLY live going. I got to get Good VLLY DJ sets going. And there's a lot I'm doing to get there. So maybe Coachella next year. We'll see.
And then you can give me a little artist pass.
Hey. Now we're talking. Hey.
Okay, there we go. Okay,
yeah, you gotta go.
Before I let you go, is there anybody on your playlist that you would love to shout out? Maybe it's a song or an artist that is up and coming that needs some love.
Yes. First, I just want to say to all you listeners, if you haven't listened to Ned's Declassified Podcast Survival Guide, there is many, many, many episodes to catch up on, and it's a good time. It's not just a rewatch podcast of the show. Like, really, it's about like us talking about all of life and adulthood. So if you want to hang with like three real friends talking about all things silly, profound, and profane, join us. And then, on my playlist right now, my buddy Boo Boo Stewart has a band called That Band Honey, and they just dropped a cover of Birds of a Feather, and it's so good.
Yeah.
So That Band Honey, Birds of a Feather.
Check them out. Devon, appreciate you. Love you in the show. Love you now.
Hey, thanks.
Come back, okay?
I'm gonna come back when I got some new music to drop, okay?
All right, perfect.
And Billie Eilish, call me. You know what I'm saying?
It's the new hit list on Kiss.